It is October the 5th. I am at Clayton Lake State Park and Dinosaur Trackways in New Mexico. I'm going to leave from my camping spot and I'm going to go find me some dinosaur tracks and forget about a hairdo around here. It's constantly windy. Here's my site first. It's nice to have a covering. It's the closest site in the park to flush toilets, but I'll show you how I have to get to the flush toilets. I have to go down this sketchy, grassy area and gingerly hope that there's not a snake around. And then it gets a little better, some rocks. And then I have to climb up this hill. So I mean, I'll spare you the details for a lot of it. It just goes up and up and up and up. But this is what I have to do in the dark. Yep, I'm still going. Okay, and then there's the washroom. There's a visitor center, but sadly it's closed. There's a dinosaur tracks. A long, long time ago, dinosaurs walked on the sandy shores of a seaway that extended from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada. Days were warm and humid, and plants covered the shore, much like the modern lowlands of Louisiana and Mississippi. The trackways provide a wealth of information about dinosaurs, from how much one weighed to how it stood and how fast it ran. Tracks show the direction animals traveled and when they left the shore to venture inland. A majority of the large blunt toe tracks are pointing north, while a few smaller tracks point south. The Clayton Lake Trackway contains a unique imprint of a dinosaur tail. The relationship between the tail print and surrounding footprints suggests that a large plant-eating dinosaur slipped in the sand and used its tail to right itself. Another set of tracks shows that a dinosaur rocked back and forth, hesitating for some reason as if it sensed danger nearby. The sandy shore also preserved environmental conditions, such as places where the water dried in puddles or made ripples in the sand. The longest trackway, 20 footprints, provides some of the most useful information about how these dinosaurs walked and ran. As a creationist, I do not believe in their dating system, but I do believe in dinosaurs before the flood. So this is going to be very interesting. Many of the footprints found in the park show a distinctive parallel formation pattern like those made by animals that move in herds. Researchers have dubbed this area a dinosaur freeway. Similar freeways have been found hundreds of miles north of here along the path of an ancient floodplain. Clayton Lake is one of the 6 most significant track sites in the Southwest. The majority of these tracks are broad, 3-toed footprints made by plant-eating dinosaurs that walked on 2 legs. Smaller, kite-shaped tracks have also been found. The variety, size, and age of the track suggests that this may have been a common traveling route for a number of dinosaur species. Dinosaurs were not the only animals that came here. Crocodiles lurked in the shallow water, perhaps drawn to the area by migrating animals, much as carnivores are drawn to migratory routes today. A long time ago, this part of New Mexico was the western edge of the Cretaceous Western Interior Seaway that cut through central North America. The coastal plain consisted of soft, wet sand. Nearby forests of hardwood trees, shrubs, and flowering plants provided habitat for small animals as well as food for hungry dinosaurs. The Ghost Ranch Quarry near Abiquiu, New Mexico contains hundreds of skeletons of one of the earliest known dinosaurs named Coelophysis. These small dinosaurs were not much larger than a vulture. They had tiny, sharp teeth and claws that probably made them successful hunters of smaller animals. The golden age of dinosaurs were when huge plant-eating dinosaurs, herbivores with long necks and small heads, lumbered along on 4 feet searching for food. There is evidence of these eating machines all over the Southwest. Tyrannosaurus rex and frilled dinosaurs such as 3-horned Triceratops and 5-horned Pentaceratops represent the Cretaceous, the last period of dinosaur life. The tracks preserved here were all made by dinosaurs that lived during the Cretaceous period. When dinosaurs walked through here, the landscape was quite different. Instead of a desert, there was an ocean that extended from the Gulf of Mexico to the Arctic. Dinosaurs walked along the shoreline, sank into the soft sand, and left their footprints. There are more than 500 footprints here made by at least 4 different kinds of dinosaurs. The trackways tell stories. Shallow tracks mean that the prints were made when the sand was firm, perhaps at a dry time of the year. Deeper tracks mean that the dinosaurs walked through this area when the sand was wet and soupy. 2 different dinosaurs made these footprints. The rounded, blunt-toed prints on the left were made by a plant-eating dinosaur, probably an iguanodont or hadrosaur. The tracks on the right were made by a meat-eating dinosaur. Their tracks are much smaller in size and have a more pointed heel impression. These 3 tracks were made by a large theropod or meat-eating dinosaur called Acrocanthosaurus. This animal stood and walked on its powerful hind legs. A large adult could be about 12 feet high at its hip and up to 40 feet long. Do you see the long middle toe mark and the 2 smaller toes in each track? Look for the 3 big claw marks at the end of each toe. These claws are called talons. The oldest rock in this area was formed during the last age of the dinosaurs from sediments deposited by rivers that flowed toward an ancient seaway. Eventually, these sediments, under pressure from upper layers, became sandstones and shale. Later in time, a great river brought gravel, sand, and clay that became the Kalish sands of the Ogallala Aquifer. The topmost rock layer still visible in the mesas surrounding the park is basalt brought by lava flowed from a huge volcano near Rabbit Mountain. The elongated track you see here is likely from a carnivorous dinosaur that stepped in very soft sands, sinking in deep enough to create the impression of its 4th claw, otherwise known as the dew claw. The curved tubular impressions are prehistoric worm burrows. The curved groove between these tracks is a tail print. Tail impressions are rare because dinosaurs usually carried their tails upright. The tail print appears near the end of an 8-track sequence where presumably the dinosaur slipped and dropped its tail to keep its balance. The rock strata visible in this area represent the layers of rock that once covered the tracks. These layers were removed during construction of the Clayton Lake Dam. Rain and snow eroded the soft sandstone that remained, and floodwaters from the spillway washed away the last bits of debris that covered the tracks. These cracks were made when this area was the shoreline of an ancient ocean. They are what is left of a dried mud puddle, one that was protected by sand and covered by layers of rock. Look closely at the mud cracks on the ground and you can see the outline of a dinosaur's footprint where it stepped in the middle of it. The most prominent track here has the 3 toes and squared heel of a plant-eating dinosaur. It is a rare find. Not only are the margins of the footprint clearly defined, it shows the fine structure of the bottom of the foot. Almost all the depressions you see around you are tracks. I walked where dinosaurs walked. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And it's a Sunday afternoon and I got it all to myself. Very blessed, very fun.